All right. Hello. Let's hope everyone can hear me. Welcome to Community of Minnesota Resort's second Q&A style School of Resorting class. Today's topic, as you guys know, is about all things communal spaces, change in procedures, and group activities. So I'm glad you're here. Whenever I've been explaining what we're doing, I don't exactly know how to refer to you all resorters. So I'm just gonna start calling you my coworkers because that's basically what you are. I'm in a little bit different space because my 2-year-old is behind the only locked door in our house, taking a nap. She's napping. So I am in the our communal space with my husband, James, as you may know, and my 5-year-old. So you might hear some more noises that I tried to get rid of the last time, and that's just real life. So just bear with me. I'm so glad you all are here. We have a new group of panelists this time. Once again, very briefly, this is just really a time to open up and share everyone's thoughts and brainstorm together what they're thinking in face of COVID stuff. I hate saying that word, but that's the reality, and Minnesota executive orders and such. So as we all are probably aware, I think there's going to be more information coming out potentially this week from Governor Walz. So this might be changing again, but at least it gets us talking and brainstorming together so we can have our head wrapped around everything and be able to go from there. So with that, I am going to start adding in our panelists. We can introduce them super quickly and then we'll jump right in. Similar style if you were on the last cleaning call. We're just going to talk through like what various panelists are thinking about, how they're going to do it, and questions for them. I think this will go a little bit quicker than the cleaning call just because there's not so much, EPA regulations and the cost per ounce, those things. So this should go pretty quickly. So if you have burning questions, get ready to type them. As discussed in the email I sent out now a couple times and on the last call, and on the spring workshop, I will bring up for you guys a couple very, very, very quick tips on how to get the most out of this call, especially if you haven't been here before. If you've done this with us, just ignore. So let me pull up our really quick webinar tips, and I will share that with you all. You also should have received it by email. So we're going to go through it so fast because you should have received it. So real quick, actively participate. That's what this is about. Our panelists are resorters, just like you, just like me. None of us are experts. I have barely decided much of anything, and that's why we're doing this. There is a raise your hand option. So feel free and use that at any time, either to ask your question audibly or to answer a question. There's also the chat function if you want to talk to me specifically or any of the panelists or all of the attendees on the call. There also is an option for Q&A. So you'll see a Q&A button either at the top of your screen or the bottom, depending on your preferences. That is a great place to ask those questions. All of you resorters can respond to those questions. The panelists can respond to those questions, or we'll take them live. We'll take them audibly. You can also upvote on those or comment on those too. I think that's it. Was that the fastest we've gone through so far? Gosh, I hope so. Without further ado, let's bring on our panelists. I am going to unmute you all. All right, panelists, are you with us?
Yep.
Hi.
Hey.
Perfect. So as you were asked, just click that you accept the video and we will go from there. Are you all with us? Perfect. Okay, I think we're just waiting on Mark's video. That's it, Mark.
There, sorry. Sorry about that.
You're fine. Okay, so we have about 50 resorts on, not including us. So welcome. Thanks for joining me. Let's go through. I'm going to have you all introduce yourselves if you're okay. Why don't you briefly, share who you are, what resort you're at, and general area, and then maybe like how many cabins and setup you have. Like, do you have group activities? Do you not? Does that sound good? Okay, why don't I start? In my left corner are the Schweeters. Why don't you go ahead and start? Introduce yourself.
Well, good afternoon. I'm Mike, and this is my wife, Ruth. We have Boyd Lodge up in Cross Lake. Part of what you said, Kayla, was a little bit muted at the end. So I think you said like how many cabins or something. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
we have 24. We are open year round. We were closed for a short period. We plan to actually do a real open on May 8th. That is our plan. And we will start activities after Memorial Day weekend. So,
Awesome.
hello, everybody.
Oxboroughs, do you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Tim Oxborough, and this is my wife, Abby. Abby's parents own Sugar Lake Lodge.
We are in the process of taking over Sugar Lake Lodge to a certain degree. So we are currently closed. We have about 102 rooms, varying from cabins to lodge or hotel style.
As you all should know from the conference. And if you weren't there, shame on you.
And golf course units. So we are currently closed. Our plan is to open May 29th with a majority of our activities starting and running through the summer on starting June 18th.
Okay, awesome. Oh, and real quickly, can you tell us about what you guys did earlier today?
Oh, yeah. So we got a call yesterday from a reporter that runs a program on Inside Edition. It's like a national news show.
Kind of.
I know.
Tabloids and national news.
Yeah, it's like across the board. But they came and interviewed us this morning about regulations and things that we're doing in terms of safety for the summer and how to, just advising people how to have a safe vacation. That's the word I'm looking for. A safe vacation this summer. So we we talked better this morning. I've been up since like 5 o'clock, so my words aren't there. That's why.
Hopefully it's a good plug for all Minnesota resorts. I'm guessing that's kind of the broader picture. So hopefully it's good exposure. Optimistic.
I am excited. I'm excited to watch it. I'm sure it was great. I'm excited to watch it though.
3 p.m. on KARE 11 and 6:30 on KBJR.
Okay, great. Awesome, thank you. All right, let's see. Bloomquist, do you want to go next?
Sure. I can talk. I mean, I can introduce because Mark's driving. So keep trying to get back here so that we can both be on together by like 1:30 or so. So we're Mark and Jen. Mark and Jen Bloomquist. We have Cedar Rapids Lodge in 10 Strike, just north of Bemidji. We have 14 cabins and a lodge where we usually serve food and ice cream and a pool. So
yeah, lots of things to think about.
We do. Yeah, we do.
Well, thank you so much for hopping on. I know you guys are crazy busy with teaching and everything and full-time jobs.
We all are.
So thank you. All right. Joanna, I'm going to save you for last. Timberly, you want to go next? Okay.
Sure. Timberly Christensen here at Fin and Feather Resort by Bemidji. Got 20 cabins. I was on last week, so hey y'all again. Yeah, we have a pool, beach, activities, playground, same kind of thing. I think everybody's kind of wondering about all of it, so I'm excited to hear what everybody's ideas are.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming back, Timberly. We appreciate it. Okay, Joanna, how are you?
Hey, everybody. Lake Timberly, I'm Joanna Wallenberg. That's not Lake Timberly, but we have Brookside Resort up in Park Rapids. We have 29 cabins, a pool, a lodge, and a full activity schedule that we are reworking. But like Timberly, I was on for the cleaning call, so I probably look familiar. I don't really shower anymore or change my clothes, so I might be wearing the same thing. I'm not sure. Anyone else in that boat? Okay, so if I'm wearing the same shirt, nobody tell me.
I can't remember.
Okay, good. Yeah, never mind then. I shouldn't have brought it up.
Harold helped do my makeup this morning, so I don't know if you can.
Love it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Joanna. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, just like in the pre-thing, I'm so sorry. If y'all clicked on a link that I sent out last second, that was specific to the Schweeters. I just copy pasted it, obviously. So feel free to rename yourself if your name shows up as Mike and Ruth Schweeters, because we only have one set of them and they are the number ones. So feel free to rename yourself. Once again, use that Q&A to ask this panel questions and we will take them live, or feel free to raise your hand. Has everyone found that option yet? How to raise your hand? Yes, okay, that will work. Yeah, that works too. And then we'll go to you live as well. So, panelists, I'm gonna rely on you to mute and unmute yourself. So Oxboroughs, I unmuted you, so now you do it. Yeah? Okay, perfect. Yes, okay, perfect. So when you wanna speak up, go ahead and unmute yourself. I'm just gonna leave you all on, well, maybe we'll go, do you guys wanna go one by one? Maybe I will start with the Oxboroughs to go through what you all are thinking specifically about your communal areas. So this is what I'm thinking. Let's start with communal areas. What do you plan to do? Number 2, procedures. Number 3, group activities. Okay, so right now we're only doing communal spaces.
Okay.
Sound good?
Are we
Okay.
starting? Oh.
Yeah, you
Sure.
guys are starting.
So
What are you guys doing? What are you doing for your communal spaces? So that includes, I'm thinking, fish house, laundry house, your lodge, your playground, your pools, things like that.
So our biggest issue has been deciding what to do with our main dining room, because we can fit about 175 people in there. And we have come to the conclusion that breakfast is just not an option this year. We've gone through every scenario, and buffets are not an option unless we can get the governor to tell us otherwise. So we're axing that just to begin with. Our main dining room pretty much won't be in attendance. The pool area, the beach area, the boathouse, all that stuff, our plan is to cut almost everything in half. So the beach chairs, the pool chairs, we're gonna spread them out and have someone dedicated specifically to disinfecting and wiping them down. I realize that everybody's different, so I'm not expecting everyone to go that drastic, but just for the way that our guests participate in those activities and the places that they are, it just doesn't make sense for us to allow as many people as usual in the pool, on the pool deck. So at least for the time being, that's our plan, is to kind of take stuff away and limit the number of people that can be in the areas.
Sounds good. What about you, Schweeters? What are you guys doing about your lodge? And I mean, you have that beautiful pool.
Well, you know, right now pools are really up in the air. I don't know what we're gonna be able to do there. I'm hopeful that we'll be able to open them. So we are like prepping now to a base level that if I get the green light, we can go forward. You know, probably our main area that we're really going to change is in our lodge check-in process, and in that we're actually going to probably create banners to block off access to where our candy and shirts and all that stuff for us. And we're going to go to almost like a a la carte order form where guests can fill that in. And we're going to really cut, you know, we used to have like every kind of possible candy that we could get our hands on. And we're going to go to a pretty limited amount that we can put on a sheet so that kids can request items, ice cream and all that. And we will then get that together, put it in a bag. If it's ice cream, we'll probably see if they have a cooler that they can bring outside. We'll bring it out to them. We're going to really try to go to a cashless system, so everything will be charged to the cabin, and then at the end of the week, they'll just we'll do a final billing, email it. When they send me a note that they're checking out, we'll have them leave the keys in the cabin, and I'll send them the final bill with all the weekly charges that are incurred on there. We're working on multiple options with credit cards, so if you have, the kids have their own account or something, we're going to try to accommodate that. But right now, we're really, the touch points are kind of the key thing, is just trying to keep that down. Probably the harder one for us is our apparel, because we do so much with apparel. We're actually going to utilize the room I'm in right now. And we're going to have, we've talked to a couple vendors this week, and we're going to have one item of each of our apparel items out. And we're going to let 2 people in at a time, as long as they're in the same family group. We will have gloves available for them, and then they can come in, look at the ones. We're going to get sizing charts that, will identify if they're a loose fit garment, tighter fit, that type of thing. And then they'll request whatever. We will then get those, bag them again, and bring them out to the guests as they go. And we're actually really looking very seriously at going to an online store that we would keep open all the time. We've been kicking that around for a while. I know Ruth is really excited about that, but I think it's time. And I've looked at a couple. There's a restaurant up here that just did it, and they really did a nice job, and it didn't cost them much to set it up. So I think we're gonna go that direction as well.
Sure. Can I ask what system or website that is that you'd be using to do that? Is there like a platform?
What website?
Like this? Yeah. Like what? Like Shopify or?
To be determined. We may even develop our own, incorporate it right into ours. So we're looking at possibly creating our own SKU system for our apparel, actually, where we can scan it and track inventory through it as well. But we're still trying to figure that out right now.
Sure. I think that's super smart how you're doing it with the ordering system. I bet I definitely have more questions around that, so I'm sure other people too. So I'm sure we'll circle back to that, because I think that's a great idea. So, okay, I'm gonna bring on, let's bring on the Bloomquist. I changed my mind and I decided I wouldn't make you all keep your video the whole time, because I don't like doing that. So I'll just bring you on as we're going through these, and feel free to start and stop your own video as well. Okay, Bloomquist, how's it going?
Go ahead, Jen. Jen can talk about the lodge stuff.
I honestly don't really know what we're going to do in the lodge for sure. We know we can't let people come in and sit around and enjoy their food and ice cream like they typically do. So we will do takeout stuff. And I'm assuming they can still come in a couple at a time to order and then head out. And we'll probably just deliver it, unless it's ice cream that we can just hand them and they can take right out again. I'm curious to hear about how people are going to do clothes like that, because I don't know. I don't know for sure. I know that we will do little things like have hand sanitizer and all that stuff around. I think it's hard. I know people, they want to touch it. They want, when I buy a shirt, I want to touch it. I don't want to just see it from afar. So that's the part I'm struggling with a little bit. I want them to be able to touch it and see how it feels and see how stretchy it is, and all that stuff that we do. So I don't know if we'll just maybe let a couple in at a time, or if we'll have certain times, or just ask them to respect, if you come up to the lodge and somebody's in here, just wait a few minutes. We haven't come up with a definite plan for that yet, so that's tricky. I don't know. Do you have
That's
anything
one
to add,
thing.
Mark?
Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
There's a couple things there's 3 things. I'm meeting with the Department of Health at 2:30 and 2 of the inspectors from up here. And I keep asking Jen this question. I don't know the answer, so I'm asking a question. But they had UV lights that are human safe that the hospital started using in the 7-county area that I service for work. And that's something that can sterilize clothing. So like our lodge is what I'm getting at, and our game room, all that stuff, that big open area that we have. So he's supposed to get back with me today at 2:30 about that. And they're not super expensive, but they're not super cheap either, depending on what size of space you have to do. So I want to get the green light that it actually works like it says and it isn't harmful before I'd say yes to anything like that for the inside stuff. The outside stuff is a different story.
We talked, Kim Bowen talked briefly Monday about UV lights. I'd be curious what you find out. Will you update us when you do?
Yeah. And the problem is like it's 220 to 222 band or whatever. I don't know the right terminology for it, but that's the ones that are supposed to be safe, not causing cancer, as an example. Otherwise, you'd have to be out of the room. Everything would have to be shut down, and you'd have to give it the 20 minutes to clean the whole room. But yeah, I'll forward you the stuff after he tells me it, or this afternoon.
That sounds good. Well, thanks for that brief info. The questions are starting to come in, so I think I'm just going to hit open up the panelists and we'll start answering questions. Let's see, Kimberly, I'm going to ask you to start your video, and Joanna, I'll ask you. Jen, feel free to start and stop your video as you want, and mute and unmute yourself as you want. So Joanna and Kimberly, what are you guys thinking for communal activities before we just jump right into questions? Or communal spaces, excuse me.
I'll jump in there. So the pool thing is a big one for us too. We don't know what the regulations will be, but we did have some ideas floating around, like if we could limit it to a time frame per cabin or family so that people, could even use it for some part of the time. So hopefully we'll be able to keep it open somewhat if we can find ways around that, limit the amount of seating and stuff like that. I don't know what the restrictions will be. Same with like the big bongos and everything like that. I have not heard anything on those. That's the two big questions we have, and a lot of our guests have, because those are very popular. But otherwise, lodge stuff, we're kind of doing the same. We actually will close the lodge, have like a walk-up window where they can order ice cream, still pay bills. We're going to try and do most of that online as far as bills are. And we're going to have shirts all online. All the clothing online, and then we'll have order forms in the cabin and online, so they can kind of write down what they want, bring it up, and we can get it and bring it to the cabin for them. That's the theory. Whether or not that works, I don't know, but that's what we're planning on, is to have my children be the models and take pictures of everything so they can kind of see how it fits. We'll have them displayed in the windows, displayed online, and the touch thing is going to be big. I get it though. Like, you want to put it on, see what it feels like. And so I don't know, maybe the UV light would work for that. I don't know. Yeah. But otherwise, yeah, hand sanitizer everywhere.
How are you doing your website? Because I am curious about that after the Schweeters said that too. Are you using like...
we are, our web, Tony Stringer is the one that's doing our website. And so he said he can just make up a page where we would list all the apparel. They wouldn't there'll be an order form on there that they could fill out, and then that would email to us. So it's not like we wouldn't ship anything out or anything like that. It's just mostly for people that are here. But the order form we actually got from our one of the kids' school, because they were trying to get rid of all the refrigerator stuff. And so you just could click on how much of what you wanted and then just sent it off, and it got emailed. So I'm like, that's really smooth. So if they could just click on the style, the size, the color, and email it, and we can have it ready for them. And the big thing will be if, they get it and then they don't like it and they want to bring it back, how do you do that? So
let it sit for a little bit.
Right.
Yeah. All right. That sounds good. Joanna, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm writing down all your ideas, you guys. What are we thinking? We don't quite know. As everybody else, and I think another important point, so like our pool is a big deal for our flow, how our week works. It's really important to people. And obviously that's not so out of our control. So right now it's closed. when we open for Memorial Weekend. So May 22nd is our opening date. We're going to have that pool ready and unheated. So the moment we can, we're going to turn it on. And we'll follow any restrictions we have to. If we have to have people sign up for times or limit, whatever, we're going to do whatever we have to do. Like the Oxbros were saying, we're going to spread out our beach chairs, to help promote physical distancing. For our lodge, I think the way I understand it at this point would not be able to be open, but again, new guidance could come. So we know we'll be serving food and ice cream. That's a big part of what we do as well. So we have some windows. We're going to serve out of windows and deliver to cabins. We're going to be as accommodating as possible.
Yep.
Other communal areas I'm really uncertain about, and I'm hoping to get some insight from all of you today. I'm hopeful that I could find a safe way. For example, we have a mini golf course that's super duper duper popular. So we thought about, okay, maybe having a more formal checkout system of clubs and balls, only 10 available, and I disinfect, they're formally checked out, disinfected, but because I guess I'm going to jump through any hoops I have to for safety and to let my people do this stuff. I'm hopeful that I can have playgrounds and stuff available. Again, I'm waiting for the guidelines. I have, about a month yet before I open. I'm thinking of maybe, this is just an idea. Again, what did I say the other day? I'm on now I'm on number 45. So, no, I'm kidding. I'm just making up numbers. But every day I have a new idea, every moment. So I'm hopeful I could maybe post a sign that says like, these beach toys, communal beach toys like paddle boards, etc., are sanitized at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. daily by us. If you're comfortable using them, use them. Here's a sanitizing station if you want to do your own sanitizing, or don't use them, right? Just so people know what they can expect, what we've done. And if they're not comfortable, they won't use them.
Yes. That's a great idea. I am writing that down right now.
And I was hopeful for playgrounds I could do that too. That you can know we've sanitized at certain times of the day, and then between that, it's up to you.
I like that because it's posted, it's clear. You still
I think
give
somebody gave me that idea. Someone raise your hand. Whoever said that, I'm sure I got that from one of you.
I got sanitation stations from Timberley, and I think that's just one more added thing of like, okay, scheduled, and then you can work with your staff that time too. Like, you are scheduled every day at 9 o'clock.
Right.
Go.
We have one benefit. We have a big staff, and we're bringing them all in. I mean, we got the PPP. We've got our staff here, and I am so thankful for them. So we don't have them here yet, but we will have them here.
Yes. Well, and I'm going to start bringing panelists back too, and we'll start just like knocking through these questions. One thing that I do think is interesting when it comes to close and it comes to lodge, and I tried to review information yesterday, so please correct me if I'm wrong, everyone. But the latest that came out from Governor Walz that specified that resorts could open, I feel like it also specified that like small retail stores, the retail parts as well. And then the food still needs to be curbside and takeout. So I understand there's kind of, well, if it's in the same space, how do you manage that? But so I am personally kind of leaning towards like, maybe that means I can just leave the merchandise open and, limit to how many people are in the lodge at a time, try to put signs up for how far they have to be apart and stuff, but I don't know.
I'm looking at a couple, I don't know that I have an answer to that, but my brain just went to the Q&A and I see a couple questions that people had.
Let's get to them. Joanna, if you see one any panelist, if you see a question on the Q&A that pops out, please grab it. Joanna, why don't you take the one and just make sure you read the question for if there's
Ryan and Emily were asking, when I said I'm going to be as accommodating as I can and jump through the hoops, which I am, about payroll and extra costs. Totally. I will be perfectly honest with you. Our payroll expenses are so high, normal. We have a huge payroll. So it probably doesn't cost, it's already an expense I had. I don't anticipate it being higher than it was. for me.
Okay.
I was going to jump on. I think someone asked something about the playground. And that was a question I had too. And I actually just doing some research today on the CDC. They have it listed that you do not disinfect playgrounds. That normal, it says on here, normal routine cleaning, but do not require disinfection. It says that spray disinfectant on outdoor playgrounds is not an efficient use of supplies. And it's not proven to reduce the risk. So I'm like, okay. Well, my common cleaning or normal cleaning is Zippo on the playground. So our plan is just to kind of have a sanitizing station there. So if people could do it, but I don't know that we're gonna go too much above and beyond just the normal kind of wiping stuff down. So.
Oh, that's
I talked to Sue Springer the other day, and this is so simple, but I think it's really smart. She said she's gonna have a little sign in her cabin that says, please wash your hands with soap and water every time you leave your cabin. So that means when they walk up and open the lodge door, they're clean, or if they go to use the playground, they're relatively clean. I mean, obviously, is that going to take care of everything? No. But also, Timberly, it's kind of like what you said the other day, like we can only hold so much responsibility, and they have to take some of their own responsibility. We can't follow them around with sanitizer, so, but if they are washing their hands every time they leave their cabin to come up and get something or to go do something, that's a simple step that's going to cut down on a lot of things. So
yeah.
One of the questions I saw in there, kind of back around the clothing side, is, are we going to let people try stuff on? And we will not. We will have we're going to, from our vendors, we're getting actually apparel size guides that will kind of give an indication what they are. They also explain that most retailers that are allowed to be open are not allowing returns as well. And I think we're going to probably have to go to that level also. So, that's, again, this is not normal. I mean, normally we're like, yeah, bring it back next year. We don't care, but we are not, we definitely will not have clothes that they can try on. We will have, and that touch thing, I get it. And that's why we're going to have gloves available and one example of all of our stuff. So they can touch the one with the gloves on, it'll help. And we also are going to do, somebody asked about store hours. We will be reducing our hours. We were typically open from 8 a.m. till 9 at night. And we're going to shorten that up by probably 4+ hours. I think we're going to go something like a 9 to 6. And that'll somewhat segue into later when we talk about activities, because that's the reason why we were open so late. But some of that, we're going to change how we do that as well. One other idea that one of our vendors told us about is that a local store did a kind of like a Facebook Live fashion show. And so they had like their kids trying on stuff and walk, and do it. So we're kicking around maybe doing like that, once a week, and then we can just replay it. But there's all kinds of creative ways to do something like that. And she was a Lundrigan's, which is a kind of a local shop. They have a store in Nisswa and one in Cross Lake, and they did over like $10,000 in 2 hours doing it that way over the Easter period. So, we'll just have to figure out how to do it, but we will not be letting them try on, and we will most likely do no returns.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I said it's probably worth noting that if there was ever a time to experiment with any type of standard operating procedures or ways to get creative with less to do more, now is your chance. And you're going to have a very accommodating clientele that will understand those limitations. I mean, it might be as simple as foregoing maid service during a longer stay, but I don't know, this could be the opportunity to do permanent changes, but you're just testing it out for a season.
Yeah. I was something I forgot to mention kind of in the intro that Tim and I were talking about when I was asking him to come on, is that like, what better opportunity to change things that you've been wanting to change, but like you need an excuse to do it without freaking out your guests. Like, this is it. I've done some research just in past lives around change, people being scared of change, different levels of change, and people tend to be fearful. I tend to like change and drastic change, but now is seriously the time. If you don't want that potluck, get rid of that potluck, and blame it on COVID. Why not? So yeah, I think that's a really, really good point, Tim. And I mean, before we even get to all those other things, so I tried to pick people that were at different levels in their resorts to be on the panel today, from Tim and Abby to having hotel room style and golf course, Joanna, lots of group activities, golf course, all the way to me, who I don't do any of that. We have one group activity the entire week. So just to show the levels of how much can be scheduled and how simple and easy we can do it. So without keeping going, I feel like that's a really good idea, Mike, about the live. If multi-level marketing companies have taught us anything, it's that you can sell clothes by going live. So why not use that? Okay, I need to stop talking. You all need to start talking. Let's go. Does anyone want to pick up a question that they see in the Q&A? If you want to answer it live, why don't you go ahead and click the button answer live, just so it gets out of that queue. Does that make sense? Okay. While you all are picking your questions to answer, Adam Olson asked if anyone knows if there's a way to email a bill pay to guests on ResStream. We emailed invoices on ResStream, and then, we have their credit card on file in ResStream, so it does give you the option to just charge their card if that's what they want. Other things that I've done, you can do bill pay through PayPal. The percentage for credit card fees are higher though, so I don't highly recommend it, but if a guest asks about PayPal, I'll do it for them. And same with QuickBooks has that option, things like that. But yes, ResStream, you can email invoices and then just charge their credit card if that's how you want to pay. Timberly, I see you shaking your head. Do you have a question to answer?
Well, I was just looking over here. They were talking about the fish cleaning houses. So what we had decided, we made up a sign that said one family at a time in the fish cleaning house. We do clean it usually morning and night anyways, and so we'll continue doing that, but we'll also just have some cleaning and disinfecting there. So hopefully they'll use it. I don't know if they will, but it's there. But it's just a sign that says stop one family at a time. And that's all we're gonna put on there.
Yeah, I think that's great, and that's easy. And I mean, our fish cleaning house is pretty small. People tend to do that anyway, unless they want to go see what big fish someone caught. So, yeah, I think that's a great idea. Once again, panelists, if you are answering a question, just read the question before you answer it for anyone on the phone. But I think this is working out well doing it this way if you guys want to keep going.
I see. And Mike said something about asking about signs. I think that was posted earlier too. We kind of are doing a mix. We found some on Vistaprint. We made some of our own. There's another one called Plum signs. And they had some really cheap yard signs. So that we're just going to put in there. Basically, we just got the ones that said, please practice social distancing. And we'll just put those kind of in different green spaces at the park, by the beach. So we just got those, and then we're going to just kind of print this more specific ones, print them off, laminate them, stick them on the doors.
Hey, Mark, welcome. Yeah, that sounds good. That is one thing that I wrote down. The number of times we've mentioned signage is just a lot. I saw someone post in the Facebook group yesterday, another website about campgroundsigns.com, I think it was. That's one thing. If you all are making up signs and you feel like you're comfortable sharing it, feel free to do so. One thing I'm just going to mention before we keep going, please, if you don't have to, but if you want to change how your name is written so we know who's actually answering the question, that'd be helpful. But anyway, anyone else find questions that you see in Q&A? Just unmute yourself. I don't think I
There's a
have you.
lot of them in there about, I mean, they're talking about sanitizing and all that stuff. We're doing similar to what Tim, hey, if you want to look at a good video about selling online, look at Fin and Feathers. That was awesome. I watched that. That was really cool. Plus, Jason looks really good in it. You can check out Jason. He's a good model.
Yeah, I don't know. It must be something hidden down deep in him. You want to be like a runway model. Not sure where that came from.
It was good. It was good. But when they're talking about that, and how are you going to sanitize your beaches? We were visiting about that yesterday with the state, and I said, how many times can you really sanitize all your stuff? I mean, all your furniture that's down there, all your paddle boards, all your fun bugs. They're supposed to tell us this week about, they said they'd get back to us this week on what you're going to do for like all our blow up toys that go on the lake, so the whoosh and all that stuff. And what you can really sanitize those with and what you can't, from Rave as an example, and what'll recommend, what won't.
Yeah.
Stearamine. Anybody heard of that stearamine? It's that's what we're going to use to sterilize a lot of stuff. That's outside stuff. They're tablets that are allegedly safe for everything. You can look it up and read about it yourself. I'm not promoting the product. I'm just telling you one of the things that we're
Mark,
using.
will you put that in the chat? Type that out in the chat.
Yeah, I will. I'll
Okay.
cut and paste the thing from Amazon for
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
But that's what we're going to use for like a lot of the pool stuff too, because I was leery about using bleach 24/7. That's got to kill a guy. I don't know, but just my opinion. But that's the one thing we're going to do. I sent a picture to the Department of Health and Deed. They're the ones that are meeting with me at 2:30, and respaced our deck chairs on our pool, and said, here's how you could do social distancing in a pool. And they're supposed to give me an idea about that. And the supervisor inspector guy up here, I went to college with, so he helped me lay it out. So he shows proper social distancing. Same thing with the beach. I can't even remember it's somebody's resort that we know. I just don't know who. And Jen's not there. She's here now. But the idea for their Adirondack chairs, and what are those called? Lounge chairs that you build, like those wood ones that are spaced out on the beach. And I took a picture of that when I got home quick to show them social distancing there, and for a communal area, and then where I would put sanitizing stations on both sides of that. So I put little dots there that I sent to the state and said, would this work or not, and will it be allowed or not, and is this good enough? Because I mean, when obviously it can never be good enough, but is it what other input do they have? So hopefully they'll tell me that at 2:30. But we're gonna have 5 sanitizing stations along the lake with a product that's similar to stearamine. I don't want to put bleach down there because I don't want to have some kid kill themselves. But that stearamine is a substance that would be, unless you're going to drink the whole gallon jug. I mean, I don't think you'll even get sick, but it kills viruses, kills all the stuff that would be like that. Our fish house is going to be similar to what you guys already talked about. I'm just trying to hit those 3 questions that are on there. But the fish house is going to be similar to what kind of Timberly had already hit on. We're going to do it twice a day. And then guests will have the opportunity to use the cleaning stuff. Whether they do or not, that's kind of on them. But that's what I can tell you about our outside stuff. And our boats. Sorry, that was the other thing. We have 17 rental boats. So I don't want to have, and we got kids that work here all summer. So it's a great job for them to do before 8 o'clock is sterilize all the boats with that spray. And that is supposed to dry itself. And once it dries, it's killed the stuff that's there. So that's what they're doing on a daily basis. The stuff we talked about, and there's a thing in the chat about this, but like all of our cabins have deck chairs and little tables outside. We're not going to sterilize those every day, but we're going to sterilize those weekly, mainly because I don't want to look like a creeper walking around outside everybody's cabin. But that's our idea right now.
Are those specific to each cabin? Like one cabin would be using those specific deck chairs, or anyone has access?
No, each cabin has their own set of deck chairs, and then there's also communal areas that are away from there, like the beach, in front of the lodge, behind the lodge, over by the playground. All the communal areas will be sprayed down every day, but the stuff that's on their physical deck of their cabin, I don't know. And maybe that'll change too. Maybe Jen will have a different idea later, but freaks me out.
Jump in. So this was what I printed off from the CDC that I was talking about earlier. And that one actually has on there, it says cleaning and disinfection of wooden surfaces, play structures, benches, tables, or ground cover is not recommended. So picnic table is not recommended. This is reading it off of here, CDC. So that's what I'm going off of.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're losing. So, real quick, people are asking how to change their name. On mine, there's 3 dots. You can click rename yourself. I'm not sure if that's the same for everyone though. So just to answer that live, no pressure. If we can all be Mike and Ruth Schweeder someday in our life, I think we'd all be better people. So,
We got lots of questions.
yes. Okay. Who else is seeing questions that they'd like to take and answer? You want me to read them all or read some?
Somebody's asking if Bloomquist will share the answers they get today. I second that. Will you please share what you learned today from Deed and Department of Health?
I'll send it out probably tonight after 5.
That would be probably really informative.
And your picture illustrating social distancing lounge chairs. I mean, I can picture it, but just in case. Yeah.
I'd love to have James critique my drawing because it's really professional. I'm a really good drawer.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. Okay. There's questions about sanitation stations. So I can tell you what I'm thinking, and if anyone else wants to share, feel free. So similar to what Kimberly has shared in the past about thinking back to, like, if you've ever been to a gym, they have spray bottles and or wipes or something like that. I plan to have a couple of those around that people, parents, whatever, can do their own for any kind of, well, this might change things if we don't have to do playground equipment. Probably still going to have it available. And then Jim Worley is my go-to guy on all things. Found have been researching dispensers together, but found some at walmart.com for the cheapest that I could see anywhere that we're just gonna fill with liquid hand sanitizer. This sounds very selfish, but now that I already have mine ordered and he has his order, go to walmart.com. And we found hand sanitizer at discountmugs.com. Once again, discount mugs coming in handy. Anyone else? Okay. I see a question for you, Mark. Maybe Jen, you can answer. Does steramide kill COVID? I can't find where it says if it does. Do you know,
I don't know.
Jen?
We just had to go talk to our son. He'll be right back.
Okay, sounds good.
I'll ask him.
Okay, sounds good. Let's see. Tim and Abby, do you guys see any questions you want to take?
We don't allow dogs, but we do it for a myriad of reasons, whether it's incessant barking when a guest isn't actually in their room, dogs taking shits around property, biting, all kinds of reasons, but, Sorry about the language.
No, you're fine.
But yeah, it might be an excuse to just kind of do away with it, just blame dogs for the whole COVID.
Yeah, after reading that article that Jim posted that I know that brought up a whole nother thing. The question was, do most people allow dogs? Is there a COVID risk with this? We've been wanting to eliminate dogs, but see this as an opportunity to potentially eliminate them and blame it on the COVID. You could blame it on the COVID. They said that you're supposed to social distance those dogs. So if that's what you want to do it. I actually was thinking I need to add dogs as a new revenue stream, but oh my gosh. No, you shake your head no. I know, I don't want to. All right. Beaches.
There's a question in there about, I don't have an answer, but it is something we are also considering about the 6-day week instead of the typical 7-day. It's on the radar. We are looking at it. I really don't want to go that way. To be honest, it'll result in one of two things. If we can't get enough staff that with the extra work to do to get stuff sanitized and clean, we may have to. We are already will change our check-in times. We're going to just extend it to actually the evening check-in. But we are looking at it. The heart of the summer, and if we do, and that's a big if, I'm not saying we are, but if we do, I would do some form of a rate assessment on that, because at that point, that's not a 7-day week and they're paying for it. So we would make an adjustment. That's going to be the biggest reason I don't want to do it, because I'm increasing expense and now I'm going to be reducing rate. Not a good way to do it. My hope is that we'll have enough staff and be able to do it with extended cleaning time, with shorter or a later check-in. We'll see. We might encourage some if they want to leave early, that will do something that, if somebody wants to like take off Friday night, they're talking about it. We'll incentive that. But right now it is something we are considering. It just, I really don't want to do it if I don't have to.
I know Timberley's changed hers too, but we're pretty close to pulling the trigger on a Friday night departure. I really want those cabins to sit empty for 12 hours before my cleaning staff goes in. I can't get past that hump. I think it's the safest for them. So I think we're going to do it, and we're not going to offer a discount. We're looking at it as they're getting that whole Friday. I don't care if they leave at 9 p.m. I'm not going to clean on Friday. I want the cabin to be empty for 12 hours. So we are going to let them stay as long as they want on Friday, and we won't be offering a discount.
I'll just add, in looking at some other things, I was looking at Airbnb, and I see that they are recommending a 24-hour for all their hosts, 24 hours in between guests. That's their new recommendation. So I thought that was kind of interesting. They're not making them do it, but they're suggesting, and they said that guests will get to see which properties are doing that. So it's just something to think about. And I would say too, talking about like, this is the time to change your regulations and stuff if you want. Moving forward, I'll just tell you, the 6th night is an awesome thing to have. Even if we didn't have this going on, we still had this in place, and it really made cleaning easier, because you'd always got a fair amount that did leave on Friday, so it really did help for that turnover. And the way we did it was, when we decided we're going to do it, our weekly rate became our 6-night rate, and we increased our week. So technically we didn't lose anything. Anyone that stayed longer, we just gained. So it's something to think about moving forward for anyone that's looking at right now. It's worth it. It was worth it for us just to have that cushion of cleaning, because we just got to that point where we just physically could not do it all in one day. And I would never ever go back.
Joanna, is it possible you could do like a earlier checkout time, like 8 a.m.? I know it sounds extreme, but 8 a.m. and then like a 6 p.m. check-in, because that's 10 hours.
I'm just pretty focused on my cleaners, and wanting it empty before they come in. So I thought about a Sunday arrival, but then I'm not getting the cabin empty unless I'm asking my cleaners to clean Sunday or late on Saturday, which they don't want to. So I've thought about it. I think from most angles for us, that I think that would be the best to get me the 12 hours or the empty cabin for a while before my staff goes in.
What was the 12 hours derived from?
Oh, I read something. Could I find it again? No.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if there was some
Yeah,
guideline.
I read something about 3 hours in bedding, like the virus degrades. Someone fact check me. Something about after 3 hours, it's pretty like degraded into bedding, because I'm worried about my cleaners making beds. And then I read something else about 12 hours.
I think they said airing out an area for at least, I think it's like 3 to 6 hours helps denature the virus.
Sure. Okay, there's a question directly for Sugar Lake Lodge from Kim. Can you guys, and I'm just going to read her question as it is, so excuse me. Can you guys talk about how you're handling clothing shopping and check-in, check-out in your big-ass facility?
The language on here. We have not thought very heavily about the clothing shopping yet. A lot of what everybody else is saying are the same conversations that we've had. We don't want people trying stuff on. It's not really an option. So we're not sure if we're going to do sanitizer upon walking into the the store. We have a new lake store down at Otis's, so that's a majority of where our stuff is going to be. We picked a really good year to establish a new store. That's awesome. Really excited for no one to use it. We're just kind of working on that. I think the online option is a good idea. We've been looking at that too. We have a Shopify page, so if anybody wants to talk about that, I'm looking at you, Mike. You're below me, but that's just a really good option. It's very cheap to do, and for anybody else, I'm happy to talk about that. But so we've talked about that. The other thing about check-in and check-out is I think we're going to look at curbside options where people drive up and we bring their keys out to them, and then leaving the keys in the rooms when they're done and just calling us to tell us that they're gone. Whatever we can do to keep people out of the lodge, because they tend to, like everybody else said, they tend to migrate there and just hang out and never leave. So we're looking at ways to just make it easier where they can call ahead, letting us know that they're 10, 15 minutes out, and we'll meet them at the curb. It's probably going to be Tim, just like out there saying hi to everybody. So, yeah, we're just going to throw it in their cars. Like, here's your key. Good luck.
1 a.m. No problem.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you guys. Timberly, maybe you could answer this one, or maybe Bloomquist. The question is, if playground equipment isn't a good use of sanitizer, would the paddleboards and lake grass fall into the same category, or is it specifically playground equipment that they're talking about different materials?
On the CDC, it just says outdoor playgrounds. So I don't know if that is the same as like the kayaks and stuff like that. We are going to actually just have our kayaks, canoes, everything in a locked area, and people will use them and they'll get sanitized as they come back in.
So we had a conversation with, I'm not sure who it was in the state, but that was the same thing. They said that activity like paddles and stuff that people are using on the lake or near the lake that they're touching a lot, that it's on us to sanitize it as it comes in or goes out. So obviously people can do it themselves. Like we said, we don't want to follow them around with sanitizer, but having them locked up is a good option, or in a certain building so that people can't get to them and you don't know about it. Because it's people in swimsuits touching things. So like that's something that you have to be really careful about. And someone had told us that too. That's why we're looking at staffing at least 2 people to be responsible for wiping the boats down, as well as the paddles and the paddle boards and all that stuff.
I think it has to do a lot about what the material is that stuff's made out of as well. Like the wood I get, but our playground is that hard plastic, and that's what we're sterilizing. Our paddle boards are the same thing. That's what we're sterilizing. And we're doing it with that stuff I said, or that I was telling you about before. Sorry, I had to go deal with one of my kids. Johanna, can you relate? Thank you. But when you're talking, somebody asked that when I was gone, I guess, about what that does kill or doesn't kill. Nothing has been studied on right now on COVID so far that does kill it. Nobody can tell you at 100%. I can tell you what kills other viruses, right? The stuff I talked to you about kills MRSA, kills HIV, kills all this other stuff, right? All these other contagious viruses. And the reason that we chose that specific brand, is because when you talk about what it can be on, it's used as a disinfectant for glasses and stuff, okay? So it's not gonna kill me. Now, does it say on their website, which you should go and read, so you don't take my word for it, should you ingest this? No. We shouldn't be out drinking it every day, but it's not like bleach, okay? And when it does dry, it's killing the stuff that I'm most worried about. That's why I feel comfortable in allowing guests to use it. Say like when we talked about fish houses, I'm not worried about putting that in the hands of a guest as much as I would be giving them a bottle of bleach and having them go nuts with their family in there. But that's kind of where that's all at for us.
Sure. Well, okay. I feel like Fish House we kind of solved. Y'all take it and decide for yourselves. Laundry house, does anyone want to speak out? That's one thing that has been approved that can be opened. I feel like we can manage that very much like how your fish houses are. So unless anyone has any specific questions about laundry house, I think we should just keep moving. Marcus, someone was wondering where you get the Dramamine. I think that's, I think that puts you to sleep for allergy. Anyway, let's keep going. Yes, Steramine, I think it's called, which Kim Bowen also is our cleaning expert and researcher. She did look that up. There's been a couple of people that are typing, and it says it is approved by the EPA, but it is very toxic for aquatic life. So keep that in mind. Be careful when you're doing it. All right, let's move on, I think, and we'll just keep answering these, but let's move on a little bit to procedures. Sugar Lake Lodge just shared a little bit of how they're going to do check-in and check-out. What else are you guys thinking for changing procedures, such as check-in and check-out? Kimberly, are you guys doing something different?
In theory, yes. Whether or not that gets put into action, we'll see. It sounds really great to have like everybody pay ahead of time, email them their invoice, they pay ahead of time. So in our grand scheme, that was what we were saying. And then we'd actually have, in this great dream of mine, someone would sit out in the driveway, and as they came in, they'd welcome them, tell them their cabin's ready. It sounds so all fluffy, but it certainly is not going to happen that way. I'm fairly confident. But yeah, we want to do something where they would pay ahead of time. We're still trying to figure out, you know, people coming in early, trying to, how do you stop them before they get in? If you're, you know, if you're just allowing them to go to their cabins, and the keys are in there. That was a question. And what about visitors, guests? How do you handle that? So much in the air. I don't know. We will have a walk-up window, so if people still want to pay by coming to the lodge, they could, but we're going to try to open that line of communications by email and texting, so we can hopefully do as much without touching as possible. Giving them their bill like the day before they leave, that sort of thing.
Yep. Yeah, someone did just ask if, I mean, I think everyone does it a little bit differently. We don't have people pay for their cabin typically until they check out, like the night before they leave. So the question was, are you having people pay in full for their cabin prior to their arrival to avoid that? Anyone changing how they're going to accept payments? For me, I am trying to decrease my credit card payments or my fees as much as I can. So if I can avoid that, I am going to. So I probably will not go to that method. I don't know if Bonnie Brand is on somewhere, but she lives off of her resort, and she does, Bonnie, are you there? She does where she has a thing on each refrigerator, like a little cup holder thing, and they write their check and they leave their check in the cabin. So she doesn't even interact necessarily with them on a regular basis. I want to say it's probably a little different in the heart of her season. But yeah, definitely an idea. And just like Adam asked about sending the bill. Anyone else want to speak up about that?
We are going to make sure we have a valid credit card prior to any arrivals. Most, you know, we use ResStream for most of our stuff, and it does allow, we actually have an automatic letter that goes out before arrival. We're going to really revise that letter. It's going to be quite an extensive document, you know, explaining the changes and procedures and all that. But we will have a valid credit card before they arrive, and and we will inform them, obviously, but that will be the credit card that will get run on departure, unless the different ones provided, which we will request to be done electronically versus coming in and sticking it in the machine and doing that. Most of ours already have it. So I don't expect that to be a problem, but we're like, you know, like Tim and Abby, we're going to do a similar deal where we're going to, when they get close, you know, I usually tell them when they turn on the main road, it's about a, you know, 2-3 minute drive. I'll get the keys ready, meet them out in the parking lot, you know, have updated information in there that they should read regarding our new policies, procedures. We will have signage in cabins. We'll have it in the office. all the, everywhere. We're going to probably do our own and just laminate them ourselves. That way we can customize it. And as things change, that's the other thing, stuff that's valid today is possibly not going to be valid in June, and vice versa up through August and September. So we're just going to go that route for ourselves. But we definitely are, and then when checkout, it'll be the same thing. They'll leave the keys in. And like I think I said that earlier, and we'll send them electronically a final bill with the payment run through with the credit card we already have on file.
I was just gonna add that we're, like you, Mike, that we're doing the same thing where everything is gonna be as electronic as possible. So if they're ordering food, if they're golfing, whatever, we're gonna put everything on a house charge as often as we can, and just send them the final bill. So we're the same way. It's gonna have to be a verified credit card ahead of time, because the less we have to interact with that, the better.
Sure. Anyone else? Once again, I'm relatively small compared to a lot of you. Most of our guests drive right to their cabin the way it is on a regular basis, and then they come say hi at some point in the evening. So we're probably just going to reinforce that. We leave the keys in the cabins. I understand that definitely won't work for a lot of you, but we'll just, in the communication I send out ahead of time, it will just say, feel free to go right to your cabin. It's open. Communications are in there. In my head, also kind of like Timberly, I have this like very fairy tale. I'm going to build like this lemonade stand, curbside check-in that they can like literally drive up, and maybe I will hand them a lemonade. I don't know. So yeah, as easy as possible. I still want them to feel connected, but also with as little interaction and touching.
I've been ordering a lot of curbside to go lately, and one of my favorite spots has a big sign up that says, like, thanks for ordering. When you get here, text this number, your last name and your car, or the color of your car, and we'll be right out with your order. So I'm thinking of copying them and getting a sign that says, like, welcome to Brookside, text this number or call this number or whatever. When you're here with your last name or your cabin number, and we'll be right out to do curbside check-in, because we lock our cabins. But
it might be overkill, but we've done a lot of Airbnbs in our day, and there are apps that allow you to open a door through Bluetooth. You can have codes that are temporary that, it would force people to not be able to get into it until 4 p.m. That's when the code's activated. But I don't know, for maybe some of the smaller resorts that, would only have to replace 10 to 20 doorknobs, that might be an option for a long-term service or benefit.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I mean, whenever I've stayed in Airbnbs, I've never, ever interacted with anyone. So yeah, that's definitely a way to do it.
Kim Bowen is writing in here about the credit card fees, and I have to admit, I am stuck in that negative boat of like, I do not want to do all these credit card fees. When I get my yearly statement of the credit card numbers, I'm like, bah. So I'm gonna not be we already charge to cabin stuff, but I'm gonna really find a way to encourage people to still slip me a check at the end of the week.
Yeah, that's one thing I am trying to figure out this year, and that's something we could talk about too. Do you change your procedures around that? Do you create a credit card acceptance fee now if you go to electronic only? I personally hate those, but I need to find a way to get it down. So what do you guys?
Give them the option, like if they can pay no fee with a check or cash, or they can, if they want to have that convenience, $5.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What are you, Bloomquist, what are you thinking about check-in, check-outs?
Our people have never come into the lodge to check in, because just the way our grounds are set up, we see everybody pull in and we just run out there and greet them either at their cabin if they've been coming forever and they go straight to it, or they just pull up out front. So that will not be an issue. We haven't really talked a lot about checkout.
We do tabs.
And it may, yeah, our guests have a tab throughout the week that they run. So usually on Fridays it's full in here because we make everybody do it, you know, before Saturday morning. We may have to have a system where everybody has their own time or something like that. So there's one guest in here at a time, because like Joanna said, we try to encourage checks. I say in my Christmas letter and whatever correspondence I send, like we'll take your credit card, but if you want to help us save on fees, we love your check. So, and we would like to stick to that too. So I guess I don't know for sure.
Sure.
You don't lock our cabin.
Yeah, and our cabins are not locked. So if people get here and just go to their cabin, they just go in and we go down and greet them.
So if you ever want a free winter vacation, our cabins are always open.
You know where to go.
Tap in. Someone asked, has anyone used Venmo, and talking about credit card fees being a cost of doing business, just like toilet paper and paying staff. Yes, I've used Venmo, PayPal, Apple Cash, all of them. I think and I'll accept whatever from guests. If they have a preference, I will do whatever they want. But some people use Square, Cash App. It just really depends on what you want to do for your credit card fees, I think. So, and as far as the cost of doing business, I am right there with you, Neely's. I agree. The pill that I had to swallow this year, I was looking at the previous owner's credit card fees, and then I compared it to my credit card fees, and I was a few thousand more than them, and my budget is based on that budget. So I have to cut somewhere. So that's really what made me take a hard look at that. So, all right. Anything else that you want to touch on procedures, or are you guys ready to transition to group activities? Transition? Let's do it. Group activities. What are you doing? Maybe just to set the tone, kind of what Tim was talking about. If you want to change something, this is the place to do it. Maybe now you can. Because this call was going to be about group activities, I wanted to make sure I had panelists on that had group activities to talk through. And then also me, I don't have group activities. We have one potluck a week. I will randomly do a kids activity. If there's kids hanging around, I'll say, let's go paint some rocks together, but we do not have scheduled activities. If anything, I wanted to start adding some more scheduled kids activities, but I have to say, you guys, kids and adults, families come to my resort because they don't want them. So there are, people want them, people don't want them, but also after a couple days, when they get in the swing of not being plugged into their phones and computers, they figure out how to play again. And I think they probably are because of quarantine already, but I just want to let you know, if you don't have those things, they figure it out and they will find things to do. But this is for those people that do have group activities. So what is your plan, anyone? Joanna, I know you've been thinking so hard about how to keep group activities. Obviously, the rules are no groups over 10 still.
Okay, I'll give you what we've got. And again, this could change, plan number 47, and the guidelines keep changing. I know Tim liked 45, but I'm just kidding. So a couple of things I'll share that we've come up with. We're still working on a few, but activities are huge for our flow. They're a big deal for us. We do a little kid care activity. A lot of people have some variety of one. So I think what we're going to do for that, we obviously aren't going to do that because even little kids can't maintain physical distancing. They don't get it. I have 3 crying in the house right now that could explain to you about that. So I think we're going to let people opt into some kind of kid craft, kid corner in their cabin. So we normally do a craft, a book, an activity that's all related. And I'm getting great content from my kids' teachers right now. I'm going to borrow it. And we're going to have, let's pretend Monday is butterfly day. So they'll say, I have this age kids and they're going to opt in. So we give them for the week their craft pack that has 2 pairs of scissors and a glue stick and whatever. And then on Mondays, they get everything for the butterfly craft and also a YouTube link to a butterfly video and a suggestion for a walk where they're likely to see monarchs, right? Monarch or milkweed, whatever. I'm making that one up. I'll have one for each day so they can opt into that, do it on their own.
Fun.
Then we are designing a scavenger hunt, which we've never done before. I've been playing around. I was telling Mike and I chatted, it's been like a month, but I have little people to experiment on. So they've been helping me. So we've done a couple scavenger hunts that have been awesomely fun. So I'm going to have clues. They'll be posted. I'll do it on one day. So I'm going to laminate and post the clues high and then like no touch. You know, they just read them. They're going to be rhymey and cute and send them all over the resort to find the next clue. And then they'll end probably in the lodge where we'll have some kind of snack, like something that they get for completing the scavenger hunt. We have some great backwoods trails that we, to be honest, don't usually share. We just use personally. So this year we're cleaning them up. We're going to make some signs that say like, oh, look, this tree is a blah, blah, blah. That's the most common tree around here. This is milkweed. This is what monarchs, blah, 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 right? All that stuff that we already know, but we're just going to share it a little more intentionally this year. We have this kids cruise where we take their kids on a, I can't think of the word, bonfire is a complicated word. So instead we can't do that for them this year, but we ordered a bunch more fire pits. I think, Tim, you guys did that too, or made some more. So we're gonna be letting them opt into like s'more packs. So if they were gonna be on the kids cruise and they can't this year, how many people are you for the s'more pack that will deliver down to their fire pit on Sunday night when they would have been on the kids cruise? So just things like that where we can modify or do something where we would have done our activities. We can't replace them all, so they won't all have a replacement, but as many as we can.
Yeah. What's your latest thought on your infamous bingo?
Oh, I'm doing bingo, you guys. I'm unbending. I'm doing bingo. That's huge for us.
I mean, people go to the resort just for the.
It's ridiculous. So we're doing bingo. If we're in, these are my thoughts. I love ideas if anybody has them. But so if we have to stay in no bigger than 10 groups, I'm thinking about, I'm not kidding you, putting the bingo equipment on the boat and then inviting people to use their personal beach space because everyone's got some. We're lucky that we have a lot of beach. And I'm going to be on the pontoon and I'm going to hook my microphone up to a generator and I'm going to annoy the shit out of my neighbors. So if once it hopefully gets better or loosens and we can be in a larger group, we have a giant rec field. So I think if we can get to that, I'm going to spray boxes with like line paint. And then like each cabin can pick a box and they'll all be 6 feet apart. Stay in your box. And I'll just do it there. I'm doing bingo.
I love it. I think you just have to share the bingo cards with us and then our guests won't care.
It's hard to get bingo cards.
Oh, sure. Nice. Okay, I love it. If anyone has questions specifically for Joanna, definitely type them in the Q&A and we can go back to her. Schweeters, what are you all doing for group activities?
Yeah, like Joanna, that our activities are a big deal for us. We do something every day. And I have Joanna, I called her the other day because I was like freaking out, like, how are we going to do all this stuff? Because everything we did was to bring people together and kind of interact and stuff. And it's like, well, that's not going to work. So similarly, we're looking at how do we, the problem is I don't want to get rid of any of them. You know, it's like, yeah, they're time to do it, but they're fun. And usually Ruth and I do them all. And it's a great way to interact with our guests and stuff. So, you know, it's going to be the creative side of it. You know, Joanna, you really inspired me with your bingo because we call it Boydo though. And so I was cleaning the pool the other day and I'm like, you know, there's a lot of green space up here. I could fit a bunch of people 6 feet apart. You know, we could, you know, and I got a generator and I've got a big speaker system. We'll be annoying the neighbors together this summer. So you know, it's like, we're going to have it. It's going to be at, you know, in the afternoon, evening, and weather permitting, of course, but you know, so it's going to be different. And you know what, like I was talking to a reporter the other day and I said, you know, we're probably going to come out of this with people like, oh, we really like this. I'm like, oh, great. Now we got to do it that way all the time. So, but another big one for us is we do a coffee and donut social hour on Monday morning and kind of a way to get everybody to get together. They can meet their neighbors. So we're going to go to a delivery system on that. We're going to have individual bins for each cabin. We'll deliver them, pick up the bins on Monday so we can sanitize them and have them ready to go the following week. And you know, the one I'm really struggling, I haven't got an answer on, is our turtle races, because that's kind of our big deal. At the end of the week, we always had it where they go catch their turtles. We had a turtle tank that we keep them in and feed them. And so I haven't come up with an option on that one, and it might be one that just gets lost for a year, and hopefully we can bring it back next year. And like some other things that we do as well. So, but we're going to keep doing it. You know, we have a lot of, you know, quite a bit of, got about 5 miles of trails on our property. So we're going to do kind of that, we'll call it photo scavenger hunt. And fortunately, I have one of our guests, his son's an arborist. So we got all kinds of tree placards that identify trees. So take your picture by a white pine, take your picture by a, you know, an oak tree, by a maple, and find a red rock or whatever. But they're going to do it by phone. Something we've never done that I think we're going to do is the same thing with a fishing contest. We're going to say on whatever day from X time to X time, you know, the fishing contest is open. Take a picture with your phone, send it to us. We don't care what, you know, we're not going by size or whatever. And we'll just enter them all in. We'll draw a winner, first, second, third, whatever it is, do something like that. And then, you know, we're just trying to figure out ways to do stuff where, you know, we can do it via electronics, which is so hard for me to say, because for the last 10 years that I've been up here, I've been telling people, put your electronics away and get the hell out of the cabin and go outside and have fun. So we're going to try it. So, you know, we have to convert back to utilizing them for, but we're going to do them. We're going to come up with creative ideas. And so, you know, thanks, Joanna, for those suggestions already. And, you know, that's what this group's about. It really has been helpful with that. And so I do have another one that we're adding this year. This is more for the adults, but my cousin, who you worked up here when he was a kid, he's a doctor now, so I talked to him a lot. And he said, you know what you should do a virtual happy hour, and then have everybody send you songs that they want on a playlist, put your speakers in the golf cart, and then drive by the decks and playing all these people's songs that they request. And of course, we'll have to have beverages while we're doing that, you know. But so I think we're going to do that one night. We'll see how it goes. It'll be something totally different, but you know, make it fun, kind of goofy, and you know, the guests are going to get it. I mean, and that was one thing I wanted to mention, and I'll at the end as well. We've really been out in front talking to our guests about things that are changing, and you know, and that, and they get it. They're excited, you know, just to be able to come up, and they're going to understand the changes we all have to make. They really are, and they're even suggesting things we can do. So I mean, it's like, don't be afraid to ask them. So.
Oh, I love that golf cart and playlist idea.
I'm not kidding. That's that was a hit. So.
Yes, so fun. All right. Anyone else? Joanna, you have a couple specific questions on the Q&A. You're getting them? Okay. About money exchange and sanitizing.
Yeah, I was typing answers. People were asking me about bingo. Somebody said prizes, and I'm not certain yet. Again, I have a big staff, so I'm planning staff support from the beach. So I'll have a prize runner on shore. I don't know if it'll be credit to the, you know, like a malt or $10 merchandise credit or something. Or I also thought about like putting aside little baggies of $5 increments, like that can I sanitize money? I don't know. I don't know. That I just have set aside, and then they get a little baggie with cash. I don't know. Something.
To their car.
Oh, and then I'm just typing on, someone asked me how I'm going to sanitize my cards, and I'm going to say like, yeah, great question. Any suggestions? We have the old cards with the plastic covers. They're not disposable. They're reusable. So I don't know yet, but I'll figure it out.
I think we're just going to I'm just going to print and make paper ones that are disposable.
Oh, that might be a good idea for this year.
And that way they have a pen, and because we used to have, one of the things for ours is we cut a bunch of little wood dowels into like chips, and we gave everybody markers so they could design their own chips. And so we'll just store those, but I think we're just going to go to paper cards, and then at the end of each game, they just, you know, we'll dispose of them so we don't have to try to clean them. So otherwise, I don't know how you would do it. Yeah,
great idea, Mike. We might end up doing something like that for this year too.
what about Oxborough's? What are you all doing with your like volleyball and basketball courts? That's kind of going back to communal spaces, but we didn't specifically touch on that.
Yeah, so we've been talking about we have a lot of activities too, even like weekly group activities. So volleyball is being moved down to the beach. Of course, that's up in the air. We don't know if we can even use that. But we're probably going to go back to the system where people sign up to use it. And the only way you can get the ball is if you have it at a certain time. That way we can keep track of where it's been and how it's being sanitized. Same with the tennis courts and the pickleball. We have pickleball clinics, golf clinics, nature hikes, yoga, like all that stuff. And I think we're going to have to go to a sign up process for those because we can only have up to 10 people, and they're going to have to go in waves where they're spread out to a certain degree. Unless they're a big family reunion, then they can be, a few more of them can be together, depending, if they come from the same household. I don't know if we're not Italian, so I don't know if they do that. The big thing is that we're pushing for people to walk the golf course this year. So we're offering 9 holes for $9 and 18 for $18. If they want to drive or if they want to ride the cart, they pay $50 for the cart. But this is kind of our way of getting, we want to get ahead of this and kind of bring golf back to what it was before to begin with, where you actually walked with your friends and you're already separated because nobody hits the ball straight. So that's how we're going to encourage people to get out and do that. We also had tubing. We offered tubing every day for the kids. And I am, right now I'm thinking that we're just not going to do it because it's giving me too much anxiety about cross contamination. And I don't know, kids like spit everywhere during that and it's disgusting. So I'm at the point where I just don't think that's going to happen this year, but I could be persuaded otherwise. So yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of signups and limiting the number of people that can do things. We were trying to think of a different activity that we could do across the property that involves everybody. We have these big, we're doubling our bonfire pits. So we'll have 63 actually I think we're going for 66 bonfire pits. Like we want to, hit a record or something, but we were thinking that at night there might be like something that we can do with the golf cart idea where you drive around and maybe offer people like a mini s'more pack or something so that everybody's out doing the bonfire thing together but separate. So we're thinking along those lines. Any ideas? Bring them in.
Idea number 52.
59.
Yeah. Speaking of fire pits, someone asked what kind of fire pits you all are using. We invested, they were expensive, solo stove last year, but we only have 5 rotating that people have to rent / buy wood for. So what do you all use? Joanna and Tim, what do you guys use?
We just do the honestly like cheapo $80 to $100 portable, and we rent them for $10, but it covers our wood cost, and then we recycle them and buy new ones when they run out or poop out or burn through or whatever.
I'm gonna dig a bunch of holes and find some big rocks to.
Yeah, we're literally digging holes, rounding them with rocks, and we have small metal fire pit rings that we've had for a long time that will encase it. But yeah, Tim's gonna dig holes. That's the plan this spring.
We can't wait to see a picture of you after you dig those holes and how big your muscles are, Tim. Okay, what else? Timberly, Bloomquist, what are you guys doing for group activities?
Similar to what everyone's talking about. I mean, trying to find ways to keep it still somewhat normal. We'll still try to do a fishing contest. Minnow races were the big thing for us, and I just can't really wrap my brain around how to make that work in a big space. So unless my kids get really creative and think of something on that one, but we're talking about scavenger hunt and, the bingo thing. We have a big open green space and a big screen. We're talking about doing drive-up movie theaters, something like that, where people could drive up either, or even just if they can sit in a 6-foot space, with their cabin or whatever, and do that. So we're talking about that. I love that golf cart idea with the sound system. That sounds fun. And for the fire pits, we're adding fire pits for each cabin as well. We're actually using semi wheels, thanks to my husband's connections. So we can just set them on there and be good to go.
That sounds super fun. What about you, Bloomquist?
We also are still hoping to do bingo. I haven't necessarily. Ours is kids bingo. We only do bingo for kids. It's very, very low key. So therefore it's a smaller crowd, and I think it will be easier to space out a little bit. Just have more seating outside so that they can be a little further apart. We always do a Monday night potluck, which is obviously canceled this year. And that's been here for since the dawn of time. So I can't say I love it. So I'm not devastated about that. But we also do ice cream social every Sunday afternoon. And at first we thought, okay, that has to go. But I don't think we're going to cancel that. I think we can do ice cream. We give away actual free ice cream during that time. They just get 2 scoops in a cup. They just get to choose their flavor. I think we can still do that as long as we just have one family and at a time to take it out or whatever. Again, just take out. I just hate to take away everything. I hate to change everything. I'm that person that's trying to find a way to have a little sign in the cabin with some of our new rules. I don't want to have 50, and I don't want to say you can't do this, you can't do this. I think because I hate that. So I want to, when they pull in here, I still want it to feel amazing. And I want it to feel like they're on vacation and there's not stress, even though our guests have been awesome. And when we've talked to them on the phone, they're like, oh my gosh, yeah, we know, we figured this would be canceled and we know there's going to be changes. Like everybody said, they're going to be so understanding. I just want to change as little as possible.
Along the lines with all the signs and not liking them, if you do have signs, there's always a bunch of different ways you can state something instead of "don't do this."
Right.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah. The signs I do have in my cabin, that's what they say. Thank you for washing your dishes before you leave, and thank you, because that's just
very Minnesotan.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing
instead
that.
of being "Don't be an idiot," put that away.
Even though that's what we want to say sometimes.
Right. Most.
Speaking of signs, I'm just checking my messages, and Jamie from Thunder Lake Lodge sent me some, and they look awesome. So I'm gonna share. This is gonna be my messages. So there's too many, but can you see them? Yeah. Okay. So she said her brother-in-law printed these waterproof signs. So yeah, these look great. Stay 6 feet from others, prevent COVID, wash your hands. Also, I love Minnesota. I feel like we do a really good job with our graphics and the stay at home and the distancing that they've done. So, I mean, if we have to steal them, not steal them, use them. But yeah, I think that's a great idea. If you guys want me to send them to you, let me know. Thunder Lake Lodge.
As everybody was talking, I thought of a couple things I forgot to mention. If anybody's connected in a school in any way, you know what a sensory walk is. These little things are painting on hallways and sidewalks. The kids jump, hop, run. So we're gonna paint a permanent one on our basketball court. We have a full court, but we left one side open for our stage. But this year it'll be a sensory walk. We're going to paint it permanently. So my kids are helping me run through ideas. If you follow me on Instagram, or Brooke said on Instagram, you saw one. And I think that's a super easy thing anybody can do with a little piece of cement. And if you search that, you can find a million ideas. And the other thing I forgot to mention was I'm in works with a yoga instructor to do some personalized content for our guests. So I'm hoping she'll put together a 3-class series. I'm hoping for 2 yoga and a meditation, but it will be personalized for Brookside, and you would be able, I'm going to buy it, and then I would offer my guests a login. They can watch it from their phones anywhere they want. Well, whether here or truly, once they go home, they'll have the login. I don't care. But that was I was really excited about that piece. And the yoga instructor I reached out to was also really excited. So I think it was a win-win because they're struggling too.
Yeah, I think that's such a great idea. I love how creative this is making us get. I mean, if nothing else, this is stretching us, and I think going to make us a lot better and be able to think outside of our box. Okay, it's 2:37. I am scrolling through questions and answers. I feel like most of these are actually just comments now. Does anyone else have anything they wanted to share? Or
Mark just texted me. He's on a little call for work that's like the talk before the governor's talk.
Yes.
He's privy, I don't know. And he just texted and said, you can share that I was just told in the talk that the governor is going to announce more business openings tomorrow. So he obviously doesn't know if that will affect us or help us, but there will be more things opening. So
awesome. I think that, yeah, I'm guessing it would, because even little things when they said marinas and fish houses and small retail, I mean, we hit on all those. Thank you, Mark. Please feel free to keep sharing the information. Okay, maybe there's just like a couple questions, and if anyone has any questions they want to ask live, please raise your hand. I can unmute you. This is your last chance to type in your questions. Someone asked, can you address the multi-households and cabins, please?
I feel like that's up to people, don't you?
Yeah, I am not policing. It's their reservation. No. I think we got the go from the governors to be open, and then now it's up to them. We will not get in trouble, I do not think.
I am not checking people to make sure that they only have their immediate family in cabins. I think that has to fall on them.
Yes.
Yeah, we can't police that. I think you're going to have people that are going to be confused by it, but it shouldn't be up to you. I wouldn't go down that road.
Completely agree. Same with everything, honestly, unless you are like roping off your playground because you feel so uncomfortable. I am going to be as hands off. I'm going to, like what Joanna was saying the other day with mentoring. Let's have the resources available. Let's have the sanitation stations there. Let's have the wipes, whatever available, and let them take responsibility. We are a facility, I mean, at the end of the day, and we will facilitate their lodging and fun, but it's
one thing that resorts might have to deal with is that guests will vary from here to here on the spectrum of severity of COVID and taking precautions or being aloof and thinking that it's anti-government conspiracy or something. And that will cause conflict. You'll have families that will get feisty with others because they're either being too cautious or not enough. So something to think about. There might be mitigating forces.
The biggest thing is controlling what you can control, and that's your property and how you establish things and how you clean things ahead of time and what your protocols are. And then anything after that is up to them. Like at some points we have to, this is a bad metaphor, but we have to wash our hands of it. It's a terrible pun. But you know, like it's up to them at one for how often or how serious they're gonna take it. And like we said before, we can't follow them around with a sanitizing bottle. It's not.
I'll do it.
You won't do it.
I'll be digging holes.
No.
I love it. Okay, I see a couple questions again about where to buy supplies and what types of activities. I think that would be a great conversation to start maybe on the Facebook group, and everyone can just respond. Does that sound good? So or whoever wants to start it, feel free. Once again, Jim and I are splitting hand sanitizer from discountmugs.com. I have not looked for wipes. I think a lot of those online say they're out of stock, but if you pick up, you'll usually find them. They just can't post big quantities. But if someone else is finding them, please, why don't we start a resources list on the Facebook group? Anyone else have burning questions or thoughts to end this call? Mike, do you want to say some final words? I feel like you're just a voice of peace and wisdom.
You know, probably the only thing that I really suggest, and probably everybody's done it already, is just, you know, really give your guests, stay honest and transparent with them. You know, we were nervous as hell, I'll be honest, early on about getting a run on cancellations. And because if they all wanted their money back, we were in big trouble. I'm not gonna lie. And so we went out with the letter. I agonized over it for days, and I wrote it and rewrote it. I don't know how many times, honey. And I went out, and everybody's like, "Oh, don't worry about it." You know, it's like, yeah, keep our deposit. We don't care. You know, and it's just like, you know, and there's one or two that are like, "No, we can't." I mean, I'm fine with that. It's like, you know, so, you know, and we all have our guests that have been coming for a long time, and you know, and they are just thrilled that they're going to have the option to come up this summer. I mean, I think everybody's kind of in this same boat. And, you know, we've gone out, I think, with 3 separate letters. I'm going to do one this week, kind of giving them an update on what we're thinking with activities, because that's a big deal to our guests. And I'm hoping to maybe get some ideas out of it, to be honest. And then, you know, just going to say, look, we're going to have, these are going to be our policies and procedures. We're, you know, check-in's going to change, checkout's going to change, but we're going to make it easier. I really hope, and I don't have to go to a 6-day week. I really do. And, you know, but I'm floating whether I even float that out there with them, you know, because my thought is if you tell them that you're thinking about it, some like, you know what, we'll probably just take off early on Friday then, and, you know, to help you guys out. And they will. I mean, it's kind of humbling, I'll be very honest, how receptive and how much they care about all of us and, you know, in our business and industry. I mean, this is, we're fortunate that it's not just a Walmart type thing. You know, you all have very deep connections with most of the people that come up there, and, you know, not that you want to take advantage of it, but they'll be there for you, and they're going to understand that you're not going to be able to do everything you've done every year. And, you know, we truly are in this together, and they're part of our, you know, they're like family. And, you know, my just thing is just be honest, and, you know, you'll get great ideas from them. And so I'm hoping to get even some more activity ideas out of this. So, and I might have to call Joanna again, because she's really got great ideas. So, but thank you all, I mean, for being on here too. And hey, Tim, I have one quick question for you. On your fire pits and that at night, do you guys have set hours that you allow those to have bonfires to go, or how do you, okay.
No, we're all the units are pretty distance as is, and we don't really have noise complaints that often.
Yeah.
And we try to group people specifically in clusters together, away from other ones too. I just wanted to add that I do feel encouraged about this summer. The people that are staying at your resorts, they're likely in the 1%, and those are the least affected people probably. So you have people that have canceled their spring break trips. International travel probably not going to happen. Cruises probably not going to happen. So there's a scarcity of vacation options, and driving is how people are going to do them. So I think it's going to be a good summer, pending another disaster.
Yeah, thank you. I completely agree. I am so hopeful that this is that destination, you know, that people will actually choose to take. So pending another disaster, let's not go there. Just, well, thank you so much for joining us, Kimberly, Joanna, Tim and Abby, Jen, Mark, Mike and Ruth. I appreciate your voices. Thank you all for your questions. All you Mike and Ruth Schweeters out there, stay wise. Let's start, you know, a couple of those resource chats on Facebook, on the Facebook group. If you guys would like, feel free on the email chat line as well. I personally prefer the Facebook just because of the 1,000 emails. But anyway, I think, yeah, signing off. Happy opening, or turning on water and doing all the things. All right. Have a great rest of your days. Thank you.